Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Team Fortress TV for our fully charged roundup of Week 3 for ETF2L Premiership Division for the Winter Showdown. My name is Lucky, and tonight I'm joined by JMaxchill on production and Wandum and Dave. How's it going, gents? You doing all right?
Doing pretty well. Looking forward to this. First time on this podcast, so, you guys take it away. You guys are the experienced boys everyone wants to hear. I'll just put in a little bit of insight here and there.
I just +2 to Shadow Moon Burial Grounds. Feeling very good. I'm the reason we're late. Hell yeah.
Flush, Wham, flush. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling about TF2 at the moment? You're still vibing? Is this Premiership Division working out the way you thought it would at the start? Or is everyone kind of feeling like, it's alright?
More or less.
The games this week were definitely close, but I'm going to be honest, they were very slow. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think when we looked at this week and probably next week as well, expect a lot of 6-0s. There are a couple of points taken from the favourite teams, but yeah, we didn't have any super close games in terms of at least scoreline. But again, none of the games were complete blowouts, so it was kind of good stuff all round. But as you say, it wasn't super fast paced. Some good stuff here and there.
I'm going to be honest, I look at so many of these teams and I get so worried that they are playing. It feels like we have incredibly fast mids and then everyone's really feeling the mids. They know what they're doing. It looks super cool. We'll talk about that more later on. But once we're done with the mid fights and you ask a team to push the last point with an Uber advantage, everything falls apart. It makes me really sad. And hopefully this is something that will fix itself coming into the later weeks.
Yeah, I hope so. Right, let's crack on, shall we? So we're gonna be, for those of you that have not watched this podcast just yet, we are doing roundups of each week that happens in the Premiership Division. So week 3 just went by, and we had Nati Noot versus TF2 Easy, 4th versus Witness, NOOBPANZER versus SVIFT, and SHADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG versus CSG. So we're gonna start off with Nati Noot versus TF2 Easy. Looking at the scorelines on this, insanely interesting. We had a 2-4 on Metalworks to TF2 Easy. Getting 2 rounds for Nati Noot against TF2 Easy. I'd say a one big fat W for the Nooters.
Yeah, I casted this game. It was, they were never really in Metalworks because they went, 3-0 down, very, very fast. So they're never kind of really in the game, but they showed kind of in the second half that they can compete. They're not just going to get blown away by the top teams. I'd say kind of one of the things we found out more than anything about the teams is kind of how the Metalworks mids kind of work this week, and that we saw in this game and in the Witness game. There was kind of, in this game it was Nubby just going fast at the start of every mid, just completely destroying Playgrey. And in the Witness game it was Brugman, right? And yeah, basically they just straight away won the first 3 mids very convincingly. Playgrey couldn't even get into the mid fight. Eventually they worked out if they send the demo through the back door and walk all the way around through Valley, that they could actually have some purchase on mid. Beyond that, there was just the problem was they were already 3-0 down, so it didn't really matter at that stage.
Yeah, I think this game, you look at the scoreline and it looks kind of close, but it honestly feels like it probably shouldn't have been. I think TF2 Easy had a lot of opportunities to win rounds. They just didn't really convert. Some of this comes down to the map, I feel like. It just kind of pushing in and out of Metalworks last. It's an experience that we've all been graciously granted by the ETF2L admins once again. I think I'm gonna talk any more about that. I think you take a look at process. It's a 0-3. I think this week now, going into the season, the preview fully charged tier list stream, we decided to put these guys in F tier. And I think honestly, looking at these guys, these Nati Noot guys now, I think they are very much just a part of everyone else in Prem. Honestly, it feels like they've very much just caught up, they're just in the pack instead of being behind the pack, being the bottom tier team. They're just one of the teams, and that's really exciting, I think, for a lot of these players, because most of them aren't terribly known faces this scene.
Yeah, they.
Oh my god, we're back. Guys, we live. Okay, back to my point about how Premiership this week was pretty slow. It was, but it feels like, I think most of it is just kind of growing pains. I think it's kind of natural for teams to eventually start slowing down, rely less on their DM. I think you look at Premiership overall, and a lot of these teams have really good DM that they're capable of capitalizing on, should they please. I think now, learn the game, make sure you're making the right decision, and then hopefully towards playoffs, when the games start really mattering, you speed up a little bit. Oh my god, everything's going wrong. I just joined a different channel. It's fine. End of point. Go next.
Go next.
The only other thing I wanted to really say about this game particularly is process was, as you say, very, very slow. It was kind of methodical, but one thing that really stood out for me was TF2Easy's last pushes. Whenever they didn't get many advantages, but whenever they did have those advantage pushes, they completely nailed them. I don't think it was a case of Nati Noot not having good setups. I think Nati Noot's setups were fine, but it was just TF2Easy was super clinical. And I don't know if you saw the American game this week, but the contrast was insane, because the a G6 team, who are supposedly the top team in LA, just couldn't push process last at all. They failed fucking 5 times in a row or something.
No. It's Europe. It's the Europeans that play slow. It's not the Americans that can't push last, guys. We've already talked about this. We can't do this again.
I think we should just start watching AU, to be honest. They're all just a bunch of crackheads flying around the map the whole game, and there's just absolutely no rhyme or reason as to why anything happens in AU, but I just want to see more of it. We do have some logs on the screen as well that just flicker across, and you can just see the domination. Nubby 26 kills. That man 9.3k damage. That's some pure domination. Right, moving on from that one, since that was our very first game of the week that we wanted to cover off. Then we had Forfence versus Nati Noot as our next series that occurred. Forfence Witness, sorry, not Forfence. What am I talking about? Forfence Witness. It was 1-3 on Process for Witness, and then 3-4 on Metalworks for Witness. And if you watch that game, it was indeed a bit of a banger.
It was. I think, I'm going to be honest, once again, Process works as magic, and it looks close in the scorelines. If you watch the game, it's technically close, but it was also 10 minutes, I think, maybe felt like an hour of Witness taking out the Eames 2018 strat book and deciding to solo sack Silentes through choke over and over and over and over again, and it never worked, and it was really annoying to watch. But thankfully, eventually they stopped doing that, and they managed to win. I think Metalworks, if you want a spectator game, might be better for you.
It was a pretty good game, particularly Metalworks, as you say. It was very back and forth. Kind of started off Witness kind of slowly winning, then suddenly Forfence just completely caught fire. Looked like they were going to win, and then it just turned around once more. So very, very yo-yo-y that game. One thing that stood out for me is you've kind of been slacking off the Forfence scouts a lot over the season. I thought QB played really, really well this game. Obviously, he's been able to snipe quite a lot this season. He's good on the sniper, but I think his scout play as well was pretty strong. I think the clear thing that is the issue for Forfence is it seems that Alien and Deli are not in sync at all as a pocket scout demo combo. At times, it looks like Deli's just doing really dumb stuff, but then you look where Alien is, and he's really far back compared to Deli. So they're just not in sync whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, because the soldier duo on this French team is so good, and Deli individually is so good as well. You just kind of need the rest of the team to step up. I thought Juxta these games as well, especially on Process, had some really, really good moments of living in situations where, at least if I, with the mental fortitude of a Premiership winner, such as myself, would to bomb into a medic and do the amount of damage and things to Juxta that Silentes did, and Juxta still lived, I would be upset. And he played very well. So I'm impressed with him. I want to give a shout out to French Metalworks mids, somehow just insane. I mean, they did basically kind of the same thing that Nasboy and Rons, or that Nasboy and Nubby did on mids as well, but they had Ron's bomb on top of point. We'd sit on top of point and spam down on the enemy team, and Witness wouldn't even be able to go to mid. And we saw it got so bad that the last round, spoilers, guys, if you just close your ears for a second if you haven't watched the game yet. But once again, Pappy runs all the way back to, I think it was like season 34 or something. He played a season with Eames, and they just don't go to mid, and they win.
Wow.
That's
remained the meme for so long. We're not going to mid.
This is the only time I've ever seen not going to mid work, by the way.
Yeah, usually they just get crushed because that's like a not losing mentality instead of winning mentality.
I played a season of Division 2. The only 2 points I got that season were because Sprite decided not to go to mid. And then I won. So
what's the time cutoff for you guys in terms of when not going to mid becomes viable?
Less than 2 minutes.
I just don't think you ever do it. I'm gonna be honest.
I wouldn't do it ever.
Unless you are getting completely rolled every single mid and you have no idea what's going on and you can't like tack pause your way out of figuring out what's happening. Like you just go to mid.
I remember Kado said that they, before LANs and stuff, they practiced it. But I feel like no other team would ever practice it. I mean, maybe you could do like the fake, the Roma disconnects or whatever, and then not go to mid in one of your scrims. But beyond that, you're never really practicing it, so I don't know. I guess it's kind of just like a setup second hold, but also you've got to know that you give them so much space in mid that they might play out a little bit differently than if they're just holding the choke and not expecting you to push.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to Captain as well. I think the fact that we're not caveating the fact that Captain was playing Demo Man, which I don't think he's played Demo in Prem before, by the way. Like, he plays it in Pugs, and he's really good, but the fact that we don't even feel the need to mention that this guy was just on Demo instead of Domo, because he was still playing fine with the team, I think it's a big solid shout out. Because obviously, like, a couple weeks ago when Soapy came in, played for CSG, we spent half of that map talking about how if Soapy wasn't there, it was an EU soldier instead, it would have been good. But Captain shows up, and he just played top Prem Demo really well.
Yeah,
happy.
I mean, you definitely have that like Merc factor in this game, didn't you? Especially since it was so close. I wonder how much that meant to them. I assume losing Domo, because he's such a vocal person as well, like losing out and having him in the team kind of thing, it would be kind of detrimental. You get that Merc factor in, and then everything just starts being a little bit wishy-washy in your game. So I wonder if that's a classic symptom of what happened here, or the Frenchies just played really well. I mean, Juxta got 9 deaths over both maps, and when you're going up against Silentes, that's great stats to have.
I had another John from Silentes in my chat as well. He said that apparently his mouse wasn't working, so he couldn't do the fast rollout. That's why he didn't.
He was huffing coke,
I believe him. I believe him 100%. It was mouse issues.
I'll have to ask him after this whether it was cope or not. Get some real answers out of him.
No. It's just mouse.
It's for real. Right, moving on to our... I should ask the question, though. Any unexpected results so far, guys, from what we've seen? 4 Fence versus Witness and Nati Noot versus TF2Easy. So everything's fairly bog standard from what we've seen so far.
I think under the context that Nati Noot is not a bottom tier Prem team and they are just like a mid tier Prem team, this is fine. But I think that notion, will take some readjustment mentally for a lot of people, including myself, that is how you have to look at this team now.
I'd also say maybe both the games were a little bit closer than they were expecting, because the Frenchies didn't look that great week 2, I guess. But as you say, it might just be that Nati Noot are better than everyone has kind of penciled them in for. They're like a legit team, I guess.
They are pretty legit. They're pretty great. You've nattied your last Noot. Right, moving on to NOOBPANZER versus SVIFT. The game that I desperately wanted to watch that we have results for. That I didn't get a chance to in the end. It was 2-1 on Granary to NOOBPANZER in a Golden Cat victory. And then we had 2-0 on Sunshine to NOOBPANZER. Now, obviously a Golden Cap. We expected this game to be slightly close. But I wouldn't have said it was within Golden Cap territory. But Granary appears to be the map that does that.
Do you remember back when Seven would play against like the champ GGK team and they would spend 30 minutes fighting on mid, or like just sitting on second backwards and forwards. That was what this game felt like. It was so long.
Yeah.
It was so long. And nothing happened for most of it because it is granary, and we spend 5 minutes trying to push in a yard, and we spend 5 minutes trying to push in a second, and then we beef a last push with that, and then we go back, and it just never ended. It was so long, and I feel like a lesser human having seen it.
Yeah, oh man, I really like NOOBPANZER. I think they might be my second favorite team in Prem right now. I really like all the players on the roster and stuff, but I don't know if they're going to feel robbed because they lost 1 point, or I really need to ask Pickles and then feedback in the next fully charged that we do. But I would have expected NOOBPANZER to win this one regardless, but still close games on both sides by the looks of things. What I was going to say as well was on Sunshine, it looked, on stats-wise, very, very close.
It probably was. I mean, both teams beefed like a billion last pushes, so it's just kind of like, it's one of those where you go, lol, Sunshine last moment, but it's also just like, it was long as well, and not much happened for most of it. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't cast it.
I didn't catch this game. It wasn't on TF2V, right?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Was there a Gesso cast? Was there a Dum Dum cast?
I think there was a Dum Dum cast, and there's also a Gazi cast where he speaks German about it. So if you speak German, then you can watch that.
Sadly, no. I do have a SWIFT t-shirt.
Oh,
that's my contribution. But no, to be honest, based on what we'd seen previously in the season, I would have expected NOOBPANZER to win like very comfortably, and maybe SWIFT were a bit better than they had been, because they looked pretty bad in the first 2 weeks. I gotta be honest, they looked pretty bad based on scrim logs that I've seen. So, at least they got a point, or maybe it was just a case of like NOOBPANZER kind of cringing a bit. I don't know.
Yeah. So from what I've seen, basically based off the stats, is that Granary was the Voxy show because he went 24-9, and Adiski went 11-20. So the split,
just Roma things, man.
Just Roma things, especially on Granary. All you're doing is bombing for the med. But having said that, surprisingly, med death's very low. Poi did die 8 times, and Pickles a whole grand total of 5. I would say that is every single mid fight that probably occurred. Both of them died because there was 3 mids. But yeah, overall, I don't think anything unexpected, but I'm get the feeling that NOOBPANZER feel a wee bit robbed by this matchup.
That 1 drop point could hurt them come the end of the season, but that probably depends on like SHADOWWIZARDS or someone actually getting good.
Actually getting good.
Wow.
Speaking of the SHADOWWIZARDS, they played against Comedy Shorts Gaming for our game of the week, which was the closest series that we had and the best cast to watch. Wandum.
Yeah.
How did you find these games?
These games were really fun because teams did things. I'd say teams, I mostly mean Amd, because I talked to him after this game, and he said, let me quote him actually, let's find this. We've been mega focused on playing way cleaner recently and way slower. Oh no, that's a red flag. Then first map in that official, I was hitting everything, so it devolved into this crazy aggressive stupid and then a swear word. I hope it's fun to watch at least. It was great. This is like, you look at the maps that they played, you go, oh my god, we're playing Reckoner and Granary, I'm never going to sleep. And then, like, it actually just was really fun to watch. Both teams were, like, pushing backwards and forwards all the time, there's a lot of aggression. The soldiers on SHADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG were really good. Geordie had an incredible Granary, and it was really fun to watch. There was some big plays as well from both teams. It was good. I think if you're going to watch a game, watch this. Pretend that the other games don't happen. Maybe watch them at like 20x speed or like 2x speed if you really want to watch them. But yeah, this game is great. You've got some clips on your screen as well here. Some moments. Basically, a big feature of Granary was that Geordie showed up to every single mid and 2-shot Condog immediately. Except this last one on the Golden Cap, where Condog took 154 and lived by standing on the pack. And that, honestly, is what won them a Golden Cap.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane that actually happened. Taking 154 and just surviving is crazy. There was like what happened to the rocket he was reloading in the air? Did he just shoot too early or something? Didn't have that third rocket, or did he just die before he got to shoot it? Kind of thing as well.
Game's bad.
Game's bad. Yeah, did you catch this game, Dave, at all?
Yeah, I watched most of it. I honestly thought about halfway through Granary there was like no way Shadow Wizards were going to lose. I think they were like two rounds up or something, and then won every mid like really convincingly, and I think they were on fourth as well. I was like, okay, how the hell did they manage to come back? But I don't know if it was nervousness or just that kind of DM factor that you got in CSG, but CSG kind of pushed them and they kind of slowly got pushed back. It was a good game regardless. And I have to say, watching Tiger is just really funny. There's so many times where it looks like he's just teleported in from like a DM server or something, because he's just in the middle of the enemy team shooting everything, hitting every rocket, and just turns a fight round that it's just not happening.
He hits such a nice air shot as well towards the end. We managed to get on the camera, but like it's one of those where like he hit a -50 on a med and he died, and then you look at the round timer at the top, and like 2 seconds later the map just went to a golden cap. But yeah, this guy's insane. I think he's. I was gonna say like they had Chris playing. Chris played fine. Nothing like too stand out from Chris. It's certainly playing fine is a step up from the performance we saw in the Premiership qualifiers, which shall not be mentioned. 07. But yeah, it was good. Shouts to Tiger. And then Am's a crispy one at the end as well. It was real good.
Yeah, Am's effectively just said, screw you and your golden cap, get me out of this server, and just obliterates a certain medic boy around the corner, just very, very clean, and wow, well, if you're going to close out a golden cap, that's the way to do it, right? You just fucking end the medic's life. Very, very, very sexy clip. And we're just farming clips for beta at this point. I feel like, he's going to thank us at the end of the season 1 for just showing all the clips that he needs to put together.
He's going to do that thing where he's like, no, but you didn't give me ticks. So I had to go find the ticks myself.
The ticks, man. Shut up, Peter.
Jesus Christ. These frag movie people.
Yeah, what was to say about the map Granary? Like, Granary should be a really good map for Shadow Wizards, because they've got this kind of flank that's so unpredictable in Vanu and Opti. But we didn't really see too much. We didn't really see enough like Opti backcapping or Vanu just kind of going crazy in the backlines. I don't know whether that's just testament to CSG, their strength on the flank, particularly with Chris coming in, or it's just a case of CSG were making it so chaotic. Opti and Vanu weren't able to like keep up.
Opti definitely had attempts. There was around the Shadow Wizards lost on Granary was because Opti went behind, decided to spawn cap a soldier, while the rest of CSG just pushed last and won. Opti and Tiger were having an honorable 1v1 on mid while Shadow Wizards lost the last point. But yeah, I mean, happens. Hopefully they are stronger for the future. I think we have to remind ourselves it's only week 3. These guys, they have time. They have Coach Dowie in the back as well, that apparently only gets listened to 20% of the time. So that's all you need.
I guess the other thing to point out is like CSG had kind of crumbled in the previous couple of games, and they ended up with like no points. The fact they actually clutched up 5 points from this game is like pretty big for them, because if it had been 3-3 or even worse, like they would have been in a really bad spot for playoffs, right?
Yeah, they would have been suffering. Right. Talking about the table, if we can wrap it up on the old. Not yet. Okay, I've been told off by production. Apparently, I'm going too quickly. Soon TM. But for the most part, we have had 2 games, I believe, that have one game that hasn't been played, and that's NOOBPANZER versus SHADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG, which I believe will be another good game. I don't know when we're going to get it. Next week for sure. Is that the answer?
That's what they said 2 weeks ago, right?
That's what they said 2 weeks ago.
Yep. So it'll happen when it happens. I think after watching the games that we saw this week, I think we set it up the last 2 times as NOOBPANZER are heavy favorites, or at least like fairly solid favorites. I think after watching the way that the Wizards played against CSG, I think this might actually be really close. If they're going into the form that we've seen them this week. This game, I mean, if it is hypothetically played next week, which it may or may not be, who knows? I think this game is one to watch out for. I think it'll be really fun. I think if you have the STV, keep the chat open the entire time. It'll be hilarious. But we'll see.
Indeed. Right. We do actually have it on stream for you, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful table that you can see. But New Panzer sitting up there, 3-0, one Golden Cap win. Does slap them, despite only having 4 total maps played, with 11 points, which is third on the leaderboard. If they manage to beat very cleanly the Shadow Wizards, then they will be at 17 points, 1 point behind the big dogs at the top there, which would be a great place for them to be in, I think. Although seeding wise, it doesn't really do you many favors.
Is there a big difference between like second, third, fourth, first?
Actually, I think it works out better for them because they won't be playing against Witness Gaming if they go fourth. So if they stay in third, it would be against TF2 easy. Yeah, you got to avoid fourth, otherwise you go against Witness and get smashed. Yeah. It doesn't mega favors actually. Maybe when this was tactical. Maybe the Golden Cap was tactical.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, we should run with that actually now. It's like
run with that theory, yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do is as a caster just pick a random narrative and just decide that this is the truth with zero basis, just for the fun of it.
You'd be great at working at the Sun newspaper.
No, but it's just like it's one of those where like Solentus comes into my chat, he says one thing that I don't think is funny, and now for the rest of time I'm just going to call Solentus washed no matter what he does. It's now the narrative. That's the power I hold. Don't mess with me.
Indeed. But we do have week 4 coming up. So production, can we talk about week 4, the fixtures? Fantastic. So the games that we have apparently for week 4 are Forfence versus TF2 Easy, Common Shorts Gaming versus SVIFT, Nati Noot versus NOOBPANZER, SHADOWWIZARDMONEYGANG versus Witness Gaming as the final matchup. And I think that the one to watch for week 4 is likely going to be Forfence TF2 Easy, because that is going to be a great litmus test of how Frenchies stand up to TF2 Easy and what sort of shape TF2 Easy are in.
It's Brudge and Rons versus the Major and Nubby. That's exciting. Delhi versus Nasboy. That sounds exciting. I want to see Nubby versus Rons on the flank. That's gonna be fun. This is gonna be a really good game. I think it looks like from what we saw out of Forfence against Witness, like they should probably put up a decent fight against TF2 Easy. Assuming under the pretense that they're not playing Koth against them, then it should be fun.
What do you reckon, Dave?
I'm not 100% certain how this is going to go because I did watch the Forfence Nati Noot game, and in that game, like Forfence just never pushed like at all. So hopefully they've kind of got that in their system. They kind of took their map loss there, seen where they messed up in that game by just not pushing. But for if they play like you say against a Witness, then it will be a good game. But I still just fancy TF2 Easy. I think they're kind of coming into form right now.
Yep, it's exciting. I think this should be a good game. I think you'll have fun. I think you scan across the rest of these matches. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Swift versus CSG is in theory maybe potentially exciting. I think the other one, I think the sneaker banger might actually be NOOBPANZER versus Nati Noot. I think I might actually end up being a really good game. Especially, we ended up seeing Nati Noot, they were able to take some points off of the Frenchies. I think coming into a NOOBPANZER that honestly didn't look too strong, too convincing against Swift, this should be a really good game, actually.
Indeed, I feel like this is Nati Noot's chance to yoink some points off of some people, for sure. I mean, that appears to be what they're doing at the moment, just yoinking points. They did it to Forfence. Their other game was Witness Gaming, I think, was their other matchup that they've already played. So, I mean, doing pretty good so far. That's all I'm going to say, really.
One worry for this week, if you are playing a team called Witness Gaming or TF2 Easy, and you are not called Witness Gaming yourself, is that Koth Product Final is in the map pool next week. And, if you play either of these teams on that map, you are going to lose.
Yeah,
there's not really a way around it.
Please, like, don't play it. God.
I mean, as a viewer, watching Witness and TF2 Easy on that map is really fun. The fun thing is that Witness, when they play against TF2 Easy on that map, they traditionally like beat them. You ignore Arcadia Finals. That map 4 never happened, although it was really sick, really hyped to watch. But yeah, I mean, this is if you are any other team, like don't pick this map, please. You're just gonna get rolled. Do it for the fans, maybe. But it's like one of those. It's like you know when you're watching like an anime or something, and we want to set up how powerful the villain is. It's like one of those, where it's like you just throw in like a fodder character, and he just gets whooped. You know, I would make a sound. I'm not too lazy.
Yeah, you're just gonna get yeehawed or toe-massed in either of those maps.
Yeah, have to play the nubby sniper or like. Silenta's heavy. You know, it's just so hard.
Yeah. Never know, Cadus might join spec again. So I believe that kind of wraps it up for this week, week number 3. Going through everything. Is there anything else anyone wants to add before we close out?
Nope.
No, fantastic. Any shouts you want to throw out there?
To Sichuan chili bean paste. That stuff's delicious. Put it in my dinner today. Braised some pork shoulder in some beer and Sichuan chili bean paste, and it was delicious. You should do that yourselves, by the way, if you're out there in the universe. It tastes very good. That's my shout out.
Shout out Sensation if any of them are watching. I don't know if any of them care, but shout out.
Amazing. Shout out to JMax, thanks for producing yet again. For this wonderful edition of Fully Charged, shout outs Bad Juju and shout outs the Tantrum Mix guys and Rush and Alien Workshop. You guys are awesome. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in today. We'll have more games coming this week. We'll try and keep posted as things happen on Team Fortress TV on the old website and put some things in there. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.